Here at work on the truck today. As you can tell, it's still covered up from the last time, it's been a while, and I've got a load of cleaning and moving shit around to do first. Priorities, coffee first. So I've got the area kind of clear. Cleared the frame rails of all the stuff, stacked it up neatly up there. I have noticed that the base of my seat is a bit more rusty than I thought, so I'm going to need to fabric cobble something together to fix that. But yeah, it's over there. I'm intending to fix all that today. So first order of business is to move the whole truck along a bit. It's going to be a bit of a truffle shuffle. Extra credit if you know the reference from that. So here's the rusty part which I'm going to replace. First thing to do is take the step off. I put WD-40 on my list of things to buy and I didn't buy any, so I think the bolts might become liquid. Can't be tight if they're liquid. So this is the last one. Likely just to fall off now. Maybe with a little bit of persuasion. Now we've got more room for activities. Looks even higher off the ground now. So the bolts holding on the bottom of the step, I can't get to those because they've got that sort of top hat feature. And I thought it'd be a bit of a fight to cut them off. So I just removed the brackets from the chassis. There's just that one bolt there, what went in there. It was a little bit awkward to get to, but I managed to rattle it off. The brake master cylinder is housed there. So, although to be honest, I've seen a lot worse with vehicles. So these are the main rust points I want to work on. I think they call this a cowl panel. It's also got rust up here. I think that might be where, I think this might be mirror holes which have been filled, and these are something else. Back to the job in hand. I think the next thing, get the drum sander, take the paint off, offer up the new panel, see where it's going to come. I think this piece needs to come off. That's in surprisingly good condition. So that's interesting. Spot welded. A little bit of MIG. A bit more MIG. A bit more MIG. I'm going to check the other side. Same deal here. A little bit of MIG weld. And spot welds the rest of the way. Oh, there's MIG weld there as well. Interesting. replacement part doesn't really match. Pretty interesting actually. The flat disc tool is more of a polisher than a grinder. I'm glad I'm using it really, because you can see all the grind marks from the previous person's work. So they've ground all the paint off and laid into it and put some filler over it. That's going to be a real fucking struggle to get that looking nice. And here's what the shut lines are like. I can almost get my... Maybe there's some adjustment in there, I don't know. So given how shit the fit is on the replacement part and how the rest isn't so bad there, I decided to defer thinking about that for a little while, and I'm going to think about this bit now. This bit which is all rusty, and the door needs to come off, and I've got Tim here to help me carry it, so I'm going to do that next. Stiff as the door is.
Yeah. Is it Japanese?
Excuse me, just need to get it in. Well, so that's the door off. The hinges are pretty stiff, so only snapped one bolt off. I'm pressing on with the wing now. Sorry, fender. Some more bolts. Let's see how much I can dismantle the truck. I think it's just going to make life easier. Well, I'm doing quite well at taking it all apart. Lots and lots of broken bolts. Piece of rubber. Yeah, so I decided to defer doing anything about the back here yet, because I'm upset about the amount of fitting work that's going to be required for the replacement panel. I'm sure I can finesse it into place, but I've deferred making the decision on that. Maybe I'll sleep on it. I just know that I don't want to regret cutting that panel off. I took the door off, broke one bolt off that, so I'm going to have to attend to that. Should have just got the WD-40. Woulda, shoulda, coulda. Should have hit them with a hammer first. I hit the top ones with a hammer and they came out a bit better. So I can now see the full extent of the crappiness of this panel. Need to make a decision on how much of that to replace. I wonder if the other side has got a dimple like that. Looks like it's taken a hit. Take these bolts out. So why would they have used a spreader plate like that there and not in these positions? Initial fit maybe? Fuck knows. Pitman arm steering. Oh, look at that, they've got grease fittings on there. Apparently it's this piece which is going to stop wheels fitting nicely. First real look under here. I'll hit that with the old, I think I'm going to hit that with the wire brush on a grinder. Make some mess. See the extent of the damage. Get some light on this. Inside needs some replacement. Need to pull all this off and have a look and see how that's all connected. I guess that's just spot welded on there, huh? Gonna have to repair that piece. I think the next bort of business is the vacuum cleaner. I think it's going to need the whole panel replaced. I was hoping just to do the bottom half of it. There's a huge dent there which looks like a bullet hole. I don't know how else that could have got there. It's not a hole, it's a dent. So yeah, got to peel this whole panel off. So I got a certain way with it, had some lunch just now. There are a lot of spot welds in that little area there. So this panel folds up underneath, slides up underneath this panel, and I want to be able to pull the old one out. I'm going to cut it across here, which is fairly well short of where the new one's going to go. And I think the way it's going to come off is that I'll probably cut the whole thing, just get it out of there, and then pull it out with the pliers and such. It feels pretty loose down this side, I've managed to get it off there pretty well. Just need a little bit more persuasion. There might be another spot weld down there perhaps. But yeah, I'll cut that off. I feel like I'm going to have to make some pieces of repair panel for behind here. Replace it where it's a bit shit, weld it up and whatnot. I think there's going to be a lot more work than just putting the panel on. I don't think the panel's going to go on today, because I need to rust treat the back and I haven't got any weld through primer or anything like that, so it's just a matter of pressing on through it. Fucking hell. Shit. Oh my days. Well, I don't think I've ever seen that much mouse nest fucking... I'm surprised there's no mice in there, to be honest. Jesus Christ. Well, the first thing I thought when I took that off is about that side. Is that side going to have just as much mouse media in it? Jeez. So I got that panel off, got rid of the mouse mansion, and I'm just contemplating the interior here. Interior panel. I've taken off the weather stripping, and I'm thinking it's going to be favourite to replace it from about there to the floor where that sound deadening has been. It's taken the paint off if there ever was any, and it's clean as a whistle under there. I guess it was a bitumen based backing. High beam light flashy thing, that's got to stay. So someone's definitely hit that with a bullet. You can see on the inside where it's come through. It's not the only bullet hole in the truck. Well, I made some progress. I've managed to take lots of body panels off. I've managed to convert quite a lot of the vehicle into dust. I've done some welding. I had to do some welding today. When I started out and I was looking at this panel, and the replacement panel just looks shit, I think I did the right thing in leaving it and not starting to chop it all up, so I can sleep on it and ponder what I'm going to do. Taking the door off, I've got this this one bolt which sheared off. There was more mouse shit than home and whatever. It feels like the entire upholstery of the interior got converted into mouse nest. I've started to repair this inner panel, it's quite solid. It's thinned quite a lot, I think. I think it started out at probably just under 1mm thick, something like that. And I'm welding thicker material into it. And that's gone quite well. I've got a few more bits to do, but I'm going to finish up for the day now and tidy up. Take some measurements of the rear deck. There were a lot of spot welds in there which needed taking out, but I'll make that neat and pretty. Going to trim this off, and I think it's a fair way off getting the outer cowl welded on. There's a few tools I want to buy for body working. I cut the inner cowl out, kick plate, side piece, fucking whatever you call it. I'm just going to cut a piece of steel to go in there, roll the bottom of it nicely around something, bit of round bar or whatever, and replace that once I've finished that structural piece here. I was looking at that and thinking, do I replace it? And to be honest with you, I just don't trust the accuracy of the parts which you can buy, and plus it'll take like 6 weeks to get here. It's nice to get into the meat of the project. Of course, you know, everything takes a fucking year longer than you think it would. But it's nice to start to play with it. Started to play with that vent as well. I don't know what's going up with that. I think there's some issues with the linkage on that. Everyone says, are you keeping the wiring? And I'm like, have you seen it? And it's like, why would you even consider saving any of that? Going to completely rewire the whole truck. Get a load of cable. You can get a cable cut to length, according to a friend who's given me some supplier names. But I've rewired other cars before. I don't see why this would be any different. It's nice to work on it. I took the sanding tool, that drum sander. That's what I use to clean all the paint off here, and it rather polishes it more than cuts it. So you can see all of these grinding marks, if you focus. They were all from whoever put fiberglass on that before. But I think I'm leaning towards doing a composite repair. I need to be able to get onto the inside and get all the rust cured, get all that out of there. I think if I put that other panel in, I'm going to end up putting a bunch of filler into this anyway to make it look nice. And it's not a huge amount of rust through there. I think I'm opting for a composite repair, because the worst that's going to happen is that it's going to rust through and I'm going to have to repair it or replace it anyway. And then look at the rest of the truck, and I'm not going to do a whole respray on it at this stage. So this side doesn't need to come off. There's a little bit of rust bubbling through there. But I'm wondering if that whole side has got shit in it as well, like the other did. But unlike the other side, we have got an inspection panel, and I'm not going to take that off today. So then it leaves the rest of the floor, which is going to need, I think some of it's okay. The driver's side specifically is really bad. So do I buy a floor piece to put in there, or do I fabricate something? Again, I think that's one to sleep on. I'm leaning towards putting a brake servo underneath there. You can buy the whole kit for that to replace what's in there. Keep the existing pedal. I think I'd like to do that. Oh yeah, so with that polishing tool, drum sander, I had to go at the roof just real quick to see if that would come out much, and it does. I think I take the worst of it off, and then I don't know, put something on there. I suppose there's a full-on headliner which would go in there, isn't there? Could maybe make a new headliner for it. But the old fender. There are so many storage scratches on this thing. Seats have got a fair bit of damage on them. I'm going to have to repair those. The steel on them, I mean, like this bit, the framework for this is a bit damaged. I can't see it at the minute, but I am quite keen to keep that seat. I like it. So yeah, all that's left is now, I've been doing the CAD work for the rear deck. I'm going to put some little bit of footage of that on here next, but I want to do some more measurements because I've just got the frame rails as being parallel at the fattest part, and of course they taper down quite a lot. The top is flat though. I think that's a 3/4 ton thing. The top being flat, there's no like hump above where the tyre is, above where the axle is. I like that. When you're up close to it and feeling it, it feels quite small, but I've calculated the amount of travel on the axle to be 5 inches axle to bump stop. That's like the most amount of travel, although I wouldn't like to see those springs on full compression. I probably wouldn't ever go back again, but the point is that means that I need the bottom of the bed to be 4 inches above the top, 5 inches above the top of the tyre in order for it to clear it. The wheels, I've been giving a lot of thought to the wheels and tyres. I would like the wheels and tyres to stick out more. I'd like them to have more backspace. I'd like them to be a bit wider, and I'd like to keep them as tall as they are. I mean, these are 32, so I think I'd like to at least have them at 30. But I really like these wheels, but I don't really want to have to deal with the split rim nature of them. I might look into seeing what tyres I can get to replace these ones, to be pretty much straight replacement. I don't want bias plies, it'd be radials. I think there'd be something what looks like would go on a commercial vehicle, like a truck or something like that. I like the Detroit steel ones. I even looked at Hummer wheels, the split rim ones of those, so I could get away from these horrible nasty split rims and get some different split rims. These are 7 inches wide, the Hummer ones are 12, which would probably clear it if they had the same kind of offset. But I think the Hummer wheels are pretty much, I don't know what you would say, the flange, what they bolt onto, is quite close to this edge of the rim. I don't know how to express that as an offset, but I think that's how the Hummer wheels are. So I've just seen some second-hand ones, and I think they'd look quite smart with all the little bolts around it. I just need to get them shipped over from America. So yeah, aside from that, I've got to tidy up all my tools. I'm glad I got to do some welding.